Hey everyone, Wonton back here to bring you another One Piece tournament match. This time, Green Kinemon versus Red Green Law. Now, the Law deck I'm trying out here isn't the more common version, the one with the Dans and more one drops. I'm trying out the film version here. The hand he kept here wasn't terrible. He had the 4-drop Yamato and a Momo to search out other Wano cards like Okiku or SR Yamato. And so, you definitely could do much worse than that. The hand that we got, though, that is what you want to mulligan for. You want to see that Brook Robin into a Nami. That is probably in my opinion, the strongest combo for this deck. I won high roll, so I opted to go second. Both decks do want to go second here, just because you get that extra card, as well as that extra starting Dawn helps you cheat out early characters, which is one of the main strengths of both decks. And although I said that the Brook Robin Nami combo was really strong, there is still no reason not to be just Dawn efficient here. Just use up both Dawn and just play Bonnie and Nami on curve. There's no reason to bluff out one Dawn. We're not gonna counter an event or anything this early, and we would rather keep Bonnie alive and protected by not resting her and activating her ability, just keeping her active. And in case you weren't aware, cheating something out is short for mana cheating, which comes from other card games where you get to summon cards using less mana, or in this case Dawn, than you normally would need to regularly summon them. So in this case, Kinemon's ability lets him do that, or film cards where one film card lets you summon another film card and it kind of just chains on like that. He drops the early Izzo here to clear off the Nami, which is what you typically want to do against Law. You just want to keep clearing his board and try to prevent it from getting full as much as possible, making it as hard as possible for him to use his leader ability. And this is that nasty combo I was talking about. I just played 8 Dawn worth of characters for 4, and at the same time filling up my board, so that next turn I only need to drop 1 character and I'll be able to start utilizing my leader ability. Both of our decks are trying to maintain board control here because that's the primary way we both win. We want to try to protect our board within reason without overprotecting it, and just letting them go if the attacks prove to be too much, especially since we are able to refill the board so quickly and maintain card advantage at the same time because of all of our searchers. Denjiro is a card I'm seeing more and more common in Kinemon decks now. You literally cannot use his ability because it needs Odin to be your leader, and so they're running it strictly for the 7,000 body. And because of Kinemon's ability, it only costs you 4 Dawn, which is pretty good for a 7,000 power card. Even though we're both mid-range decks, Kinemon is typically better in the late game compared to Law, and so as much as possible, I'm trying to maintain the aggression here, keep pressure onto his life, maintain board control and tempo, and just to try to get him low enough before we reach that late game turning point where I can't keep up with him anymore. And so as a result, I Otama Jet Pistol Denjiro. It's a decent target. It's not the best target, but it does allow us to maintain tempo for this turn. He does need to spend another turn developing another larger body because Izzo and Beige don't exactly represent the strongest board here. And so now we're just trying to chip away at his life, swinging 5k at a time, making him either take a life or use up cards in his hand to protect himself. And this deck is great at doing that, just going wide and chipping away at them. Here he drops 7 cost Kid, which is great for controlling the board. And because my deck doesn't run minions as large as him, he has 7 cost Kids and Odins. I only have the 1 7 cost Luffy. I can't compete with him in the late game, so I have to go faster. I can't go as slow as him. And so I decide to just start hammering away at his face here. Because 7 cost Kid, while he's a big blocker, can only block 1 attack at a time. And one of Law's strengths is to be able to just summon attacks out of nowhere. And so here you can see we're just peppering him in the face with 6,000 attacks. And then we're utilizing Law's leader ability, bouncing back the Nami for a Law, then bouncing the Zora back for another attack. And here we're just confirming that that I didn't mess up or anything. Because of all the pressure that we've applied and the fact that we still have a pretty strong board here, he does need to calculate now whether he wants to give up more cards or to take another life. Him giving up the 2,000 counter here to block the 5,000 to 5,000 attack means that either he's running low on counters or he has a 1,000 counter card that he doesn't want to use up here. But the final attack from my leader forces out that 1,000 counter. And then just for good measure, we put down Chopper to protect our board. He is getting low on life and running low on counters in hand as well, so he does need to start clearing up the board, and we're going to try our best to protect our board as well. So he uses Yamato to get rid of one of the blockers. He swings at Robin here, and we're okay with giving her up. We don't want to protect her too much. We do have other cards to replace her with in our hand. I think it's more important to protect the Zoro and the Brook. But more importantly, the Zoro. Just so, because he synergizes very well with Law's leader ability. And so here we're countering aggressively. And he drops the Okiku, setting himself up for the next turn. So again, we just keep continuing the strategy, just keep firing away. 5,000 to face. And we know that he's low on counters. So this also prevents him from getting value from his 2,000 counters if he happens to draw any. Again, the face is the place, so we're just ignoring the board here. We drop the big blocker, Luffy, as well as Nami, and then we start using Nami's ability to refill our hand a little bit. Sorry for the glare there. I'm not sure if you guys could tell that I grabbed the 2,000 counter Chopper, the 2-drop film one. And this helps set up our board as well, because Luffy is a big 7,000 blocker, so he can defend the board, and it also helps us potentially go for lethal next turn, because we just added a 7,000 and 5,000 to the board. And that's one of the strengths of this version rather than the more traditional version, where this version can refill the board a lot faster with bigger characters that represent more of a threat, rather than like the bodies, the beiges that the traditional version runs. With Law rested because of Okiku, I was down to one blocker, and he decides to try to go for game. Swinging 7k with Okiku. I had a lot of counters in hand, so I was comfortable with surviving this turn. We were okay with taking that 1 life there, and then here we just counter aggressively. And because I stopped that second attack by Yamato, he now needs to reconsider whether he wants to keep going face or to start clearing up my board. Because I did also flash out that 2 active Dawn there, so that's something he needs to consider as well. And eventually he just thinks it's too risky, and so he tries to go for the board clear instead. And I'm not sure what happened to my video here. For some reason it skipped, but you can see there that I arrested Luffy, so I blocked that attack to protect the Zoro. And again, I want to keep up as many characters as I can because we've already committed to the game plan of trying to knock him out next turn, and we've already been aggressively countering so far, so there's no reason not to just keep continuing with that game plan here. And here we've expended every card in our hand just to make sure this board stays as healthy as possible. Now he needs to drop another blocker just to stay alive for next turn. And here we've already decided that we are going to try to end it this game. It's just a matter of how we allocate our Dawn. He does have the 1 active Dawn there, so it's likely he has a Paradise Waterfall unless he's bluffing. So here we're just trying to hit him with as much power incrementally as possible. So we went 6, 6, 7, 7. And because every attack is so valuable at this point, we don't want to give him an easy counter. We don't want him to just be able to counter out one of the 5,000 attacks with one card in his hand. We want him to expend as many cards as possible to make sure that as many hits as possible get through. So he's forced to use another card here to protect Kid, and that shows that he very likely does have a Paradise Waterfall. And he's going to restand Kid afterwards. That Law was a nice top deck there. He allowed us to get another attack off of Zoro. Although I think that extra 2 Dawn might have just been enough anyways, just slapping it onto Luffy or Law. And here we just finish off the game. We swing with Luffy, we swing with Law, and we get exact lethal here. And this actually secured me a top 3 finish, and because this tournament had 3 winners, we both managed to finish in the top 3 and both secured a winner card for ourselves. And that's it for me, everyone. If you like this type of content, please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting on the video. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.